Hello, welcome to our chapter on digitizing. We are in the middle of an unofficial/official three-chapter section on data. Last week, we looked at acquiring data from online resources, some data management tools, and some best practices for making sure the data we use is credible and useful for the project at hand. However, there are many times when you cannot find what you need, and digitizing is an excellent tool for creating new vector layers that contain the information that is most helpful for your task. It's not always going to be the solution, but it is a straightforward process that is actually quite exciting to integrate into whatever you might be doing in your GIS project or task. So, what is digitizing? Well, broadly speaking, digitizing is the process of converting any kind of information into a digital format. For instance, you can scan photographs and create digital files, or scan papers and create digital files, take a VHS cassette and create a digital file. You get the point. But I'll leave the fully fleshed out definition to the industry professionals at GIS Navigator as to what digitizing in GIS is. So they say, what is digitizing in GIS? Simply put, it is the process of converting geographic data into a digital format, which is essential for the functioning of geographic information systems. This process, known as map digitization, is essential for creating accurate, editable, and shareable spatial data. Once complete, the output is a digitized map that can be analyzed, layered, and integrated into GIS software. This transformation involves digitizing map features by tracing spatial data on paper or scanned images into digital points, polylines, or polygons. GIS digitization facilitates recording, displaying, and analyzing geographic information, generating map layers, and storing data for various applications. So notice they made mention of stuff about paper maps and scanned images. These two can be used in a GIS project, but they have to be georeferenced. So that's a few extra steps. That's slightly different and in addition to what we'll be learning in this lab. It's a really fun thing to do if you have an old map that you want to bring into a project and digitize. If you want to do this, let me know and I can actually help you get the resources to learn how to do it. But we won't be doing that in the scope of this class. So in our lab, we are digitizing some of the features of Youngstown State University campus, and I assume you're picking up on the Ohio theme with the labs here. There's not a lot of theory I feel the need to explain before getting into the lab. I feel that the concept itself is very accessible, even at this early stage. But what is challenging about the lab and digitizing itself is simply that it can be really painstaking. You're clicking, you're checking, you're pulling things in and out. I mean, there's just a lot of little tiny moving parts. In addition to just, getting really used to the workflow, working with the interface, and again, just sort of integrating how ArcPro works. But digitizing isn't the only thing you will learn. You'll also learn about setting up and working with geodatabases. So geodatabases can be a little intimidating at first, but the reality is that data is stored in a geodatabase and not in a table of contents. So the way we work in ArcPro can make it seem like all the fun stuff you do with your layers is in the table of contents. And it is, frankly. I mean, that's where we do all of the create new layers, we do the buffering, we look at our attribute tables, we can all do change the symbology, we do all kinds of cool stuff. But the parties in the table of contents, but the rules and the structure are all in the geodatabase. So if you really do want to move forward with your GIS career, you will become more conversant in setting up geodatabases. But the little lesson we have in this lab just sort of helps you I think, see a bit of what you can do when working with a geodatabase. So just know that that's also kind of a nice fundamental part of what we do in the lab. So I think that's it for now. I think the lab will be pretty straightforward, but it's just a lot of clicking. So have fun with it, and I will see you on the other side.